Factors in any breakup are, as we've heard, kids and money. I want to bring in an expert to provide some insight on the financial side of breakups. Eva Sachs is a divorce financial consultant. She helps couples going through breakups figure out what comes next money-wise, and we've reached her in Toronto. Hello, Eva.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. In terms of finances, what does a good breakup look like?
A good breakup is one where people understand the hard work that they have to put into coming up with all the facts and figures that are required for family law purposes, whether they're doing it at the kitchen table, in mediation, or as one of your other experts talked about, collaborative law. It's understanding the numbers, and a lot of people are scared of numbers and don't want to deal with it. But it's the reality of all the things that are being negotiated in a separation and a divorce really comes down to numbers and budgets and what can I afford, and can we keep the kids still in hockey? Can I afford to stay in the house because I really want to do that? Do I have to go back to work? Can I retire in the way I plan to retire before even thinking of separating? So there's lots of financial elements and concerns when people are even contemplating separation and divorce.
Inherent is that in that is life's going to change, isn't it? I mean, that's just a fact.
Well, life's going to change, and depending on who's wants the divorce or not, so who's the one that's being blamed. In some cases, somebody doesn't want to change, and they're blaming the other person. If you didn't want this, life would go on the way we were planning for it to do. So there is a reality check, because as much as the work that I do certainly deals with the pragmatic side of separation, divorce, emotion comes into it. But I really want to stay in the house at all costs. Well, the reality is you may not be able to do that.
What should the first step be? The first financial step, I guess, when couples decide to break up?
From my perspective and the experience that I've had in dealing with couples that have gone through separation, divorce, really understanding their lifestyle. I mean, people have budgets, but they're budgets that they've done, from a couple of years ago, or they're missing numbers. For me, it's really that they understand how much their life costs them, and using that as a baseline to say, if this is what our life was like, our lifestyle was this, what will it look like when we're on our own? And certainly from their own perspectives, but when they have children, looking at how much they're spending on their children, what they want to continue in terms of their activities, hockey, dance, whatever, and therefore how much is going to be left over that they have to find some ways of dividing. Because as you know, two households, or they're going to move into two different households, so something has to give, right? And in good Canadians today, we have many of us that live beyond our means. When we're together, what does that look like when now we have to manage two households and still look at the expectations that we have on the kinds of things that we want to do? So understanding the lifestyle piece, I think, is really critical.
It's kind of a reality check coming into play, isn't it?
It's a huge reality check, and it's a very scary one for a lot of people, and so people tend to hesitate looking at that. I'll certainly tell you that when I do ask people for their budgets, they'll provide numbers, but interestingly enough, they never do a bottom line. So I think it's too scary. Okay, I know how much I spend on mortgage, or how much I spend on groceries, but if I add it all up together, it's going to be a number, and I'm too afraid to know what that number is.
How do you feel about prenups? How does that play into this?
Prenups, I think, are really important. I certainly work with a lot of couples that are very interested in creating prenups today. I think the reason for that is a number of different reasons. Number one, they may have come from families where there was divorce and saw what happened with their own parents and say they want to avoid that, especially if it was not an amicable divorce. Couples are certainly getting married a little bit later in life, so they've acquired assets in their own names, RSPs. They may have had a house previously, and now they may be selling it and buying another house. And then the other thing that's really drawing a lot of people today into prenups is the whole notion of housing, how expensive it is, and how they're getting help from family. And so the bank of mom and dad being a source of a deposit on a down payment on a house, And these numbers from research that we're hearing are really big numbers. And so how do we protect that parent investment if something happens in the future?
Eva, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Eva Sachs is a divorce financial consultant. We reached her in Toronto today. Coming up,